Bowls buddies, hello and welcome to another Wednesday, and another Wednesday where AC, that's me, is talking bowls. And to be more precise, Bowls buddies, sorry for the interruption. When I was editing this video, I noticed there was no sound on this part, so I'm having to come back on the following day and just redo this bit. So many apologies, it won't fit together, it won't look right, but never mind. Guys, thanks for joining me. Remember, if you enjoy these videos, please hit that like button, and if you're not already a Bowls buddy and a member of this wonderful community, please hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free of charge, and don't forget, hit the notification bell for notifications of new content on the channel, which is currently 3 times a week. And some good news, I've got some more DVDs to do. And even I've not seen some of these. That's fantastic. Right, so this episode is all about measures. I said I would do a review on the Bowlsline laser measure. There you go, from bowlsmeasure.com. And I'll come on to that later on. But first, the thing about measuring is very, very important. Measures can win or lose games, and it's really important therefore that we have a reasonable way of measuring that is as straightforward as possible and as difficult to I don't want to use the word, as difficult to cheat as possible. Now, Bowls has been around a long time, and obviously Bowls measures has been around a long time. Cutting a straw, which I've talked about in the past, is one of the oldest types of measures, and is pretty accurate. And then they brought out these little things, which is basically string with a couple of pegs on, which is probably why they're probably old clothes pegs at some point, and probably why they were called pegs. Really simple. String goes through the holes, you measure, you hold it with your finger, and that should be pretty accurate. But of course, if you release some of the pressure, you can just move it. So there you go. This is around 100 years old. Thwaites bitter beer is the best for bowlers. Well, never played drunk, so I don't know. And then later on than that, you got these style of measure. This was in 1947. It's called the Pines Accurate Bowls Measure, and there's a little button. You press the button, you can pull the string out. This is actually a metal wire, so it won't stretch, which is great. And to be honest, measures haven't changed that much over the years. They work on the same principles inside there. There's a spring. When you press the button, you can pull it in and out. You let the button go. It supposedly locks in place. But as you can see, whee, you can pull it. And the same problem is there with modern measures that work exactly the same as that. They haven't changed a lot, to be honest. Terry's brought out one which was a plastic one with a metal tape rather than a wire. There was another one, I don't know who made it. It's called a Bowls measure actually, and it was supposed to be for bowls or petanque or whatever, but we started using it for Crown Green, and I don't think they were really approved measures. You never saw referees use them because they weren't that good. And then the latest box measures, they're okay, but again, if you're measuring the first bowl, you're really tugging and you can easily pull, and it's open to abuse. And then if you remember, I showed you this little thing, Thomas Taylor on the front of it. Nobody had a guess at what it was, and I'm not surprised really, because unless you're a bit of a geek like me, you've probably never seen one before. It's got a display on the top. Now I've tried to turn it on, I haven't changed the batteries, so it's not working as yet, but there's a display on the top, and there's these little things that look like microphones. It's a sonic bowls measure, and this was first tried in 1986 at the Waterloo. Jack Lee had a go with it. It had also been on Tomorrow's World. I don't think as a bowls measure, but as a way of finding out distances. And it didn't work very well, and I'll explain why. But you had this low down thing, and this side that's higher up you point towards the bowl, and the idea is you place this between the jack and the bowl, a third of the distance away from the jack, 2/3 to the bowl approximately, and it emits high frequency sound waves. They bounce back off the jack and the bowl, and it does a little bit of a calculation thing dependent on the time it takes for the sound waves to come back to the unit, and it can tell you a distance. Fantastic, absolutely perfect science, perfect theory. Unfortunately, and I haven't got a crown green jack, I've got a flat green jack here, you'll notice something about these things. They're sort of round, and because a crown green ball is an oblate spheroid, the sound waves bounce off at different angles, so what you get is interference patterns in the sound waves, and you don't get a very accurate measurement from this little device. Theoretically brilliant, in practice not so good, which is why it never took off, and which is why you can still find mint condition, never been used sonar measures on eBay. Yeah, I mean, absolutely great idea, sonar. It works. Bats use it in nature to determine how, you know, where things are, how far away they are from cave walls and stuff like that. Ships use it to determine how far they are off the bottom of the sea or the river or whatever they're in. And of course, a similar method is used for pregnant ladies to do scans on babies in utero. So, brilliant theory, unfortunately didn't work in practice. So measures have stayed the same for an awful long number of years, and this is where I end this part of the video and go back to the one I started last night. We move on to the laser measure. Keep watching. It's no good. So then we move into the modern day with the Bowlsline measure, and this is the compact measure, and I think I've told you to do a standard measure that still has a string with an L shape. I'll put a picture up, I'm sure you've seen it. Then they do a bigger one in a case that's similar to this, but it's not as user friendly in my opinion. It's a bit too bulky, a bit too cumbersome, but this I think is ideal for crown green balls. And my main reason for that is you can do your measuring on your own, even if they're greater than, you know, an arm's a span apart. I mean, I can measure balls up to about 4 feet apart on my own, and after that it's I get a bit jittery. Now with this it will go up to 30 metres, and you could use it for doing long tapes, but I'll come on to that after, and I'll explain why I don't think it's particularly useful for that. So, as I said with the sonar measure, the problem with using lasers is it really needs a flat surface for the measurement to be accurate, and also you need to be able to make sure that you're measuring to the nearest point of the bowl from the jack. Now the problem with crown green balls, as I've said, they're not a uniform shape. They're rounded, they're a spheroid, they're an oblique spheroid. And you might have a ball that's face on like that, you might have a ball that's like that, laid down at an angle, you just don't know. And that means that the nearest point of the bowl to the jack isn't always at the same height. And for that reason, it comes, see how I just slip those out of there, because that fits in with a magnet, very nice. You have these L-shaped target plates, And when you go to do your measure, you have your bowl and you put the target plate up against it, resting on the floor with an arrow. I don't know if you can see that, with an arrow. Can you see that? Yep. Pointing towards the jack. And as long as it's pointing more or less to it, you don't want it at a jaunty angle, it works very well indeed. So then you press it twice to turn it on. You put it up to the jack. Let's assume this is a jack. You put it up to the jack. I'll show. There'll be a laser. Hopefully you can see the laser there. And then you just push the button and it gives you a value. So to my picture over there, it's 1.692 meters. You then do it to the other ball. You press it again. So again, you've got the thingy. I'll do it to the other wall over there, and I'll show you a video. I've got some videos of me doing this. You press it again, 1.554. So you know that that is nearer than the first one you did, and it saves them, look, it saves them. So you've got both. Come on, come on, you did this before. So you've got both values that you can, both values that you can refer to. And it's really simple, really is simple. Once you've put your thingies down against the bowls, I'll show you on the video that I've already taken. Okay, bowls buddies, so I've come out into the garden, swept a bit of snow off my artificial grass. It's not particularly level, which is a good thing when I am testing the Bowlsline laser measure. Now, the thing about crown greens are they're not exactly flat, and the jack isn't always in the same position. It's not always stood up. It could be laid down flat. But so the problem we've got is that there isn't a standard height that the laser can be to hit the center of the jack or the center of the bowl. So the laser measure comes with these two target pieces, L-shaped pieces, and all you do with these is you put them lined up with the jack at right angles to the surface of the bowl, and there's a little arrow on them. I'll show you that. I don't know if you can see the little arrow, and that points towards the jack. Doesn't have to be exact, but close you can get it, the better. And then all you do is double click and it turns the laser on. You line this up on the jack, you press, you can see the laser on the target, you press the button and it records a distance. In this case it's 0.0835 meters. You turn it round, you line it up with the target, and there's a handy little guide there. Click the button, 0.826 meters. So we've got the two measurements there. 0.826 meters is shorter than 0.835 meters. The black ball is in. It's that straightforward. And just to double check, I've got a tape measure. The laser measure says the black ball is in, so let's do the measure. So that's showing on there. Yeah, and as you can see, just short there, by less than 10 mil, black ball in. And you can also see that there's quite a difference in height between the black ball and the red ball, and using those L-shaped metal targets really takes out any guesswork in trying to find the centre of the ball. As long as you're hitting that target in the middle, it doesn't matter. Now then, I'm not exactly sure on the tolerances because it didn't say on the documentation I got, but I've got a feeling it's 3mm, possibly 3mm, which is about what, 1/16 of an inch. I think it will go up to 30 meters guaranteed. Now, after 30 meters, whether that laser beam spreads out too much, I don't know. I haven't been able to get on the bowling green. A gentleman asked me whether it was would it be suitable for the vets leagues where they do long measures and you can't go over 40 meters. I don't think it would be. And the same reason I'm going to give you now for why I don't think it'd be suitable for doing long tapes. I think you could use it, but you'd have to walk to the bowl or the jack if you were measuring the, well, measure to the jack, put your little target down, walk back to the mat, do your measure, decide whether it's a mark or not, and then walk over again to pick the target up. Now, you might as well just get your long tapes out, because somebody's got to walk over there. You only might as well just do it once rather than twice. So that's my reasoning behind why I wouldn't use it for long tapes or long distances. But for normal, everyday measuring, I think it's ideal. And I think its main selling point at the minute is that you can do your measuring on your own. You can socially distance and measure, which you can't always do if you're using a normal measure. It needs, really, to do it properly, it needs two of you. You're then having to disinfect the measures, etc. But I just think that works really, really well in this current climate. It's, what else can I tell you? You can use it to do your measuring at home as well if you're doing any decorator or anything like that. It just pops out of this plastic case. So it's a moulded case, clips in. To recharge it, you just push it out. You just push it out like that. And on the side here, there's a little rubber grommet thing, and it's a USB rechargeable. So all you need to do is plug it in with a USB cable that comes with it, and charges up. Now, I think it would certainly last, you know, an evening of bowling or an afternoon of bowling, but keeping it charged up isn't really a problem, because you just come home and plug it in, job done. I like it, but I think the reason I like it is because I'm a geek and I like things, and I think it's an improvement on what we have. I think it's more accurate, it's giving you a definite value for a distance rather than somebody's opinion. Let's say if there's two of you measuring, you know. The biggest problem with measuring with the normal strings is that when you're trying to reach the bowl, you tend to pull. You pull very tight on that first measure. That's why a lot of people want you to measure their ball first, because you're pulling it, you're putting a lot of effort into it. When you're doing the second measure, you're not just pulling the same, because you're just making it nicely taut. There's not as much energy going in as to pull that string. So you're not getting the same amount of give in the locking mechanism. Let's just say there's some experts out there who know exactly what they're doing with these things. Yeah, like I say, I like it. I like it. I can't wait to use it properly when we get bowling again. I think it's a great idea. Like I say, it's just a shame with crown ring bowls and jacks being a funny shape. Now, if we were indoor, an indoor jack, the middle of that, the nearest point to the bowl on that jack is always at the same height. So you can actually engineer these to always hit the middle of that jack. So you could measure from the bowl towards the jack indoor. I know you shouldn't, but you could if you wanted. That could be made to be the right height. It would always strike the middle of that jack. Job's a good one. We're funny in crown green bowls. We're funny. And we have the jack that's shaped like a ball. And the other thing that this target does is it just gives you a little bit more little bit more to aim at. You know, normally if you were aiming at the very middle of that ball, if that was the nearest point to the jack, you're literally aiming at something ridiculously small. As soon as you introduce that to it, you've got a big target. You can see the laser shining on it, and I'll show you. So I've just turned it on again. Let's just, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that. So you can see the red light on the target. Really easy to see, even at a reasonable distance of a few meters. Yeah, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I think I think it's a great idea. I think the fact it's really compact is good. You don't need a carrying case or anything like that. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I will be using this as much as I can once the bowling greens start up again. So the Bowlsline measures, bowlsmeasure.com. I'll put a link in the description if you are interested in getting in touch. I think they sell them through Amazon. I think that's where I actually found it, on Amazon. So that's the place I would head to if you want to find out prices, etc, etc. I hope I haven't bored you too much. Measuring's a very important part of the game, and games can be won and lost with measures, even very early on in the game, if players think they get something in the head. You know, I'm not saying I've done it, but if you get it in your head that the measures are not on your side, shall we say, it tends to lose you a few chalks if you allow it to. So I'm going to leave it there. Friday will be the 1994 Bassmasters final. Andy Buckley versus Glyn Cookson. Was it? I can't remember now. Or was it Tommy Johnson? Oh, I don't know. 1994 final anyway. You can tell I haven't watched them, can't you? Anyway, that'll be live on Friday at midday. And then we're back on another week and back to the Bowlers World Archive. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Remember to hit that like button if you've enjoyed it. Any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below or email me. I think most of you have got my email address now. Yeah, I was going to say, just stay safe, keep your masks on, don't go getting any silly illnesses, and let's hopefully get through to a new bowl season, and fingers crossed we'll be able to get back to some normality. So have a good one, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll catch you Monday. Bye for now.